Alright everyone, well let's continue this Halloween Horror Fest marathon, this time with a movie review. Yes, and this is of one that's fairly new, and well, keep in mind there might be some minor to moderate spoilers, so if you don't want spoilers because you haven't seen this movie, I would turn the video off right now. Otherwise, let's get to it. One that came out this summer, before this year, and which I anticipated for 2019. That is Annabelle Comes Home. Originally dubbed Annabelle 3, until of course it got the real title, which I just mentioned just now. Yeah, because I didn't really know where they were going to go with this. Because, as you know, if you saw my video of last year of the crappy horror films and their superior prequels, which Annabelle was one of them, along with the Ouija movie. Yeah, Annabelle 2014 was crap. It was a crappy cash-in prequel, which really was barely scary and didn't have much to offer. But thankfully the prequel, which I was kind of scratching my head on and I thought was really going to suck, which thankfully didn't. It was actually really good. So, again, I really didn't know where they were going to go with this. And as soon as I saw the trailer, I was like, oh, okay, they're going to tie it in with the Conjuring universe, because all these films are. If you saw the first Conjuring movie, you saw at the beginning and some other parts that the Annabelle doll is there in the Warrens' house. So, I guess these producers and the director himself, James Wan, thought, why not make a movie that centers around the whole Warrens' house and the whole room of, possessed cursed artifacts? And that's exactly what they do with this film. That's what it centers around mostly. So, yeah. At the beginning, of course, it shows the same exact scene that you see in the first Conjuring movie with the Annabelle doll being taken from the nurses because of its violent history and everything. So they take the doll and they put it in, of course, the glass case. But it doesn't end from there. It pretty much, tries to take place before the first one, as I mentioned, and it involves around not only them, but mostly their daughter Judy Warren, who's played by a different actress this time, because I guess she's younger. Makes perfect sense right there. But there's one thing I have to kind of nitpick, but I'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, it involves mostly in her character, and, of course, mostly at home, briefly at school. The movie tries to make you feel a wave of sympathy for her because she feels kind of like an outcast, and because her parents are demonologists with the stuff that they do, so the kids are kind of like, I don't want to get involved with a person like this. So, yeah, you do kind of feel bad for her. And being that it also is her birthday in this film, yeah, that's what the film revolves around. And, of course, her parents go out for a night to work on a case. So, she's left with a babysitter, who's played by, yes, of course, the same actress that you've probably seen in films like Jumanji: Welcome to the Jungle, which, of course, is getting a sequel the end of this year, as well as Goosebumps 2. So, for what she is, she does actually a pretty good job. She's a typical teenager, and she obviously tries to make it the best weekend for her and take care of her. Meanwhile, of course, she also has a friend who's fascinated by the fact that she's staying there and pretty much invites herself in and, well, wants to screw around with the artifact room because they know what the Warrens do after her father, of course, died in a car accident that she feels responsible for. So, yeah, she wants to talk with her father beyond the grave, using one of the cursed artifacts, and what do you know, she's a typical horror movie idiot that unleashes the Annabelle doll and all hell breaks loose. So that's where all the fun starts, and it's plenty of jump scares, plenty of build-up, plenty of suspense, plenty of silly moments as well, with the boyfriend coming over with the guitar, and then eventually, yeah, of course he has to become the hero, and it's very fascinating with all the stuff that happens. They read, of course, all the documents of all the cases that they went through, projection video of them trying to do a exorcist and everything like that. So it's all very fascinating. And that's what they did, and that's what this movie focuses around mainly. Aside from her being in school briefly, most of the time it takes place in their house. So it's very creepy, the atmosphere is great, and being that it takes place mostly at nighttime, it's the perfect setting for a horror film. Plenty of jump scares, and a couple of far-fetched moments here and there, especially towards the end. I'm not going to give anything away too major, but it may come as a surprise to you, but then again, it might also be a little bit predictable, like you've kind of seen this before. But for an hour and 45-minute runtime, I'd say it was pretty enjoyable. It may not be a masterpiece like the first two Conjuring movies or like the first Annabelle movie. Nothing really of a surprise attempt, but I'd say it got the job done for the most part. It's almost kind of like Adventures in Babysitting meets, you know, a horror film in horror style. Because, yeah, there's some far-fetched moments, like when she goes in and has to find the Annabelle doll so she can put her back and put back all the spirits and settle them in. But I like how it ties in with the whole, you know, man with the coins in his eye, and, you know, you got the wolf and all that stuff. You got your typical cliche jump scares that may seem a little bit predictable. And, okay, now the nitpicks. These are just a couple of minor things that I have to complain about, and again, it might be spoiler related, so, yeah. I thought at first this was a prequel that takes place before the first Conjuring movie, but after I saw that music box that they take from that house in Rhode Island, I guess it's not, in a way. So, why is Judy Warren played by the young actress, you know, since she's supposed to be younger? So, yeah, I don't get it. And yeah, we've seen this child actress before in many films, and she's even going to be in the Ghostbusters 3 movie that's coming out next year. I'm not sure as who, but I've seen some of the leaked photos, and it's starting to look really promising for the most part. I'm not getting my hopes 100% sky high on it, but I think it'll be much better than that crap we got in 2016. But anyway, yeah, just a minor nitpick, a rather brief moment that you probably noticed if you've seen the first two Conjuring movies. And another nitpick I have is the babysitter is an asthmatic, and she carries around an inhaler. Don't you think if she's babysitting and staying overnight that she wouldn't leave it in her car? I mean, not exactly a smart thing to do. I mean, that's like if you need medication every couple hours and you leave it in your car. Why would you do that? I understand it's trying to build up to like a suspenseful thing, you know, having to go outside with anything out there, anything can happen, but that's just a little ridiculous and unbelievable there. I mean, not a very smart thing to do. But otherwise, yeah, those are a few minor nitpicks there. Nothing other than a couple of cliche jump scares that can be a little bit predictable, but it works. I say this is a well worth sequel slash prequel, whatever which way you look at it. A fun time. As I said, it's only an hour and 45 minutes long, so I can't say I can really complain about it. And it ends with a rather surprisingly heartfelt moment that I wouldn't dare give away. And for the most part, I'd say not an A+ film, but it gets the job done. And for this guy's directorial debut, he did fine. So, not grade A good, but I'd say it was a pretty good time. I had a good time watching this one, and I would watch it again anytime. And I'm hoping to see more out of the Conjuring universe, because next year comes Conjuring 3. But otherwise, this film, we remote me Motion Plus up and the plane remote up. Trust me, it's a good scary time. So, till next time, keep watching.